Weekend, everybody. Happy weekend. I hope you are doing great. I hope your health is great. I hope you're getting a little bit of a chance to chill. The temperatures are insane. I'm over in the valley, 105. What do you have to offer? Now let's talk about tipping. Whoa, that's a sensitive topic these days for riders and passengers. Man, you make a video on tipping, all hell breaks loose, right? That's when riders and passengers, and I make these videos because I want to stimulate dialogue. I want to spark a reaction. And in this game of rideshare and food delivery, if the tips are not there for the drivers, and remember, riders and passengers, I have to remind you, this is a service industry, a service industry. We are providing a service. You go for a haircut, you get served a meal by the waiter, you have the valet drive your car, right? So I don't understand, and we're talking specifically in the United States, because culturally, if I go to Europe, tipping is very different. If I tip 20% in a restaurant in Europe, man, they think it's Christmas and Easter. They're like the happiest people. They're like, oh my God, must be Americano tips 20%. Europeans tip about 10% if you're lucky, right? 10% if you're lucky. You're not going to make the big money with tips in Europe doing rideshare or working in the food delivery industry or being a waiter. But in the United States, sort of the rule is 15% for the service industry. And then you can go 5 up to 20% if the service is bueno, or you can go 5 down, 10% if the service is shitty. But tell that to a rider and passenger, and oh my God, all hell breaks loose. So I made a video, a short, to test the reaction of riders. And what I said is, tipping, it should be a mandatory gratuity, right? I just put it out there I'm not saying that is what it should be. You can't, I don't believe, honestly, if you want to hear my opinion, I don't think you can force a tip on any individual. Even a restaurant, mandatory gratuity, as they want to call it, which is legal by the law. To enforce it is, right? It's a way that a lot of restaurants got around tipping. And I just put it out there to test the reaction, mainly from riders and passengers. Oh, let's introduce mandatory gratuities. No, ladies and gentlemen, that'll never happen. Tipping is always optional. But when you look at, we have 39 people, smack that like button, please. When you look at tipping and you look at the food delivery industry, right? It's a pleasurable thing. I'm trying to get my food, yummy, yummy. So it's a good feeling. Oh, my food has arrived. It's nice and warm or whatever. I'll tip him. Thank you. If you're looking at rideshare, I've got to go to work. I've got to take a car to work. It's not a pleasurable thing very often. I have to go all the way through the traffic to the airport. It's not a pleasurable thing. So the frequency of tipping is so much lower if you look at food delivery versus rideshare. But the biggest issue today, and this goes for food delivery and for rideshare, is that the companies are gouging the riders. That's right, you heard me, riders and passengers. The Uber and Lyft and Uber Eats, DoorDash, they are bending you over and charging astronomical fees. And the rider or the passenger or the individual ordering food says, listen, if you want to jack my pricing up, screw you. You're not going to get a tip. And little do those riders or passengers or people ordering food know that they're punishing us. They're punishing the driver. They're punishing the wrong person, the person that they should have the beef with, or maybe do a little brief social media post is against the company. Hey, stop jacking the prices up. I can't even afford tips anymore. But the anger and the frustrations are let out on the drivers. And the difference between food delivery tipping and rideshare tipping There's a huge discrepancy. Way more people will tip their food delivery driver versus their rideshare driver. And I want to just remind riders and passengers and people in general that are ordering food or groceries, this is a service industry. Treat those individuals that are taking you from A to B. Treat those individuals that are driving you home safe. Maybe, you know, after Friday night, couple of glasses of wine and a good meal at a restaurant, you've just tipped the waiter. Why don't you tip your rider or passenger, right? And people that are ordering food delivery on DoorDash and Uber Eats, guys going across town to get your food because you don't want to go there, you don't want to make that trip, and they're offering that service to you, why not take care of them? I mean, food delivery tipping and rideshare tipping should be the same. Now, what's interesting, there's an article out by the Business Insider that says 1 of 4, 25% of rideshare drivers are tipped. I think the percentage is much lower. I think the real percentage is about 10%, meaning 1 out of every 10 trips, you get tipped. Now, I've spoken to a lot of drivers, right? And when I bring up the topic of tipping, they say, you know what, I don't care. I don't get tips. I don't get tips. So I don't care what they get, what my car looks like on the outside. I don't care what my car looks like on the inside. If I've been driving, done 15, 20 trips and there's crap piling up in the back and plastic and blah, I don't care because the people are not tipping me, right? And riders need to know this. Riders and passengers need to know this, that yes, your rates have gone up through the roof. Our take rate, our pay has gone down. We're basically both losing. Both you, the passenger, both you, the person ordering food, and us, the driver, whether we're the rideshare, the delivery driver, both sides are losing in this game. The only winners are the companies because they are gouging both sides, right? But tips are definitely affected by this behavior. A rider's going to turn around or a passenger's going to turn around and say, you know what, go and collect your money. You need to get paid by the company, Uber and Lyft. My argument, dear rider, take a deep breath, take a step back and understand this. This is a service industry. Your beef, your anger, right, with your inflated fares should be directed at the companies, right? These are decisions that Dara Khosrowshahi or David Risher, the CEOs of Tony Zoo, made to take more money from you. These are the decisions that the CEOs made to pay the drivers less. So please, dear passenger, dear rider, and I say this respectfully, right? Because I appreciate tips. I always tip, unless you're giving me really, really shit service and you don't care about me, right? Why should I reward you? Goes for the same in a restaurant. If you're forever trying to get a drink, if you're forever trying to get a meal, you know, and you're trying and you're reminding and the person's just not interested, they're not going to get a tip. But I always tip. And there are individuals like myself that always tip. And you know, it could be 15%, could be 20%, could be 30%. Sometimes I tip 50%. If I get exceptional service and even if somebody's serving me a burrito, I've done it. Right now, I just came out, got unbelievable service. Bought a burrito, got drinks. This Spanish waiter, I mean, it was $25. I tipped him $15, right? So $40. Why? Because he gave me exceptional service. And I think exceptional service, if you're looking at a rider or a passenger, is, hey, you did exceptionally well getting me home under my drunk conditions, right? Or you did exceptionally well getting me to the airport in time so I could make my flight. Here's my reward, right? Here's my reward. Riders and passengers and people ordering food, people ordering groceries, do not punish your driver. Your anger, your beef is with the company, and you're retaliating. Sadly, you're retaliating against your driver, and that's what really gets drivers riled up. We're doing everything. We unloading the the baggage. we're rushing to get your food in time. And then when you get, oh, 0 tip, or oh, I'll tip you in the app, that famous one, I'll tip you in the app, and nothing comes, there's disappointment, because we've gone beyond for you. And understand that this is a service. And you have no problems tipping your waiter or your hairdresser or the valet guy or the guy at the airport that handles your luggage. You have no problem giving him $5 or $10. Why not extend that same courtesy, extend that same payment, extend that same favor to your driver? And when I say driver, I mean rideshare driver and food delivery driver. But the problem is, again, ladies and gentlemen, Uber and Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash, jacking up those prices. And riders and people ordering food say, shit, there's no margin. I can't give my driver anything. And that's where everything falls apart. What do I mean by everything falls apart? The service that a lot of drivers, over 50%, gave 5-6 years ago is not there. Hey, you're not tipping me? I don't care what my car looks like. I don't care if my car smells like smoke. I don't care if my car is littered with, McDonald's cups. I don't care, because you're not tipping me. So sadly, the downside here, what the companies don't really realize, and very often the riders and the passengers don't realize, that because you are paying more and we're receiving less on the pay side, the quality of service has deteriorated, meaning if a driver doesn't care about you anymore, because, why go through, or why wax my car? Why spend all of that additional time cleaning up when you don't tip me anyway, right? So that's a problem we can only fix together, right? When I say we, you, the rider, the passenger, or the person ordering the food, or the person ordering the groceries from Instacart, the person bringing you the groceries, the person driving you home safe, that is only a problem that we can solve together, right? And I crank up the air. It is so hot in this car, talking 105, and my phone is just tripping out. Sorry about that. So let's fix this issue together. Riders, passengers, compare notes with your drivers. What did you pay? What did they receive? And then I think afterwards you'd have a little bit of compassion, and you'd actually pay a tip. And drivers, why don't we make an effort to still offer top service, to still carry the bags? And if things don't change in the next 6 months, you know what? If things don't change and the riders and passengers are just absolutely not willing to up the game or up the tips or pay more frequently, then unfortunately, dear Uber and DoorDash, your brand is going to suffer, because our service is going to deteriorate. You don't pay us, we're not going to go out of our way. And the same goes for a meal, right? There's a lot of drivers in food delivery that will only pick up a meal if there is a tip involved. Whether you're tip baiting, hopefully not, but I'm not going to pick up that food delivery without a tip. And a guy, one of the top-notch guys in DoorDash, who just got deactivated, he couldn't take the bullshit from those from cheap customers anymore. This entitlement, like, you got to go do all these things for me, get all of these extras, but I'm not willing to pay you. You got to go collect the money from your company, from Uber Eats or from DoorDash. And I think that triggered Pedro Santiago, and maybe cost him his account, because he was pissed off against a specific client. Rideshare drivers, I read this article and it says that 1 out of every 4 passengers tips us. Again, I think it's less than 10%. I honestly think it's less than 10%. What do you think? Right? So feel free to chime in. How do we resolve this? Dear passenger, dear rider, how do we resolve this? And again, we're talking more in general tipping in the United States. In the service industry, pretty much standard is 15%, 5% more, 20% if you're getting exceptional service, 5% less, 10% if you're not getting that great service. But this is the only way for drivers to survive. And dear passenger, dear rider, if you have been noticing less drivers out on the road, think about this. A driver who cannot make ends meet because suddenly that entire well of tips has dried up. It's just not there anymore. And I remember years ago where your tipping easily covered your weekly gas. Easily, right? Easily covered your weekly gas. And you took pride and you took joy in the service. Why? Because under Travis Kalanick, for example, you were paid decently. And riders and passengers were not gouged. So there was more free money to go into tipping. And because we were better taken care of, we had a better take rate, we had better pay, we went all out. And today, with that absolute pathetic pay, with them screwing us over, gouging the drivers come with the same attitude. Why should I offer exceptional service when I'm getting shit pay from Uber Lyft, DoorDash, and Uber Eats? So again, once again, both parties lose. Parties of the riders and passengers and the people ordering food, and then the other party, the food delivery drivers and the rideshare drivers. Both parties lose. And it was very, very different 5-6 years ago. So Super Troll says, here in Chicago, the restaurant and bartender industry is absolutely the worst for tipping, bragging how much they made in tips and never tipping. Can't wait to eat at their place. Saul says tipping needs to be done away with, period. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Tipping should not be done away with, right? If you like, oh, you know what, go collect the monies from Uber and Lyft. You got to take the mirror and look at yourself. Maybe you cheap, right? Maybe you cheap, and you're expecting a lot, but you're not willing to give much as a passenger or a rider. And any rider or passenger that comes with that attitude, or go, you know what, you don't deserve a single dollar, go and collect the monies from the company. Well, this, my friend, is a service industry, right? And historically, the service industry, there's tips involved, because that's the only way you're going to make money. And if you're not willing to tip that driver, food delivery driver, then you cannot expect good service. You cannot expect a shiny car, then go and jump into a dirty taxi, right? Or a stinky, smoky taxi, right? That's the alternative. So if you're willing to tip, if you're willing to set a high standard, you will get better service. And I think you'll get more enjoyment out of your trip. You'll get more enjoyment. You'll get your food faster. You'll get warm food, something to think about. Saul, it's not that other countries do demand tips, especially the restaurant industry. If you go anywhere in Spain or Italy or in France, tipping is expected. It's just that if you're in a French restaurant and you're coming over as an American, and you're getting, wow, I'm getting this great service, and you tip 20%, they're super grateful because their people. Flo Kunle throws down 10 in the house. Thank you, my friend. In Europe, you're lucky if the people tip 10%. But tipping is also expected in Europe. Go and speak to any waiter that's, working in a restaurant in Mykonos, Greece, or in Barcelona, Spain. They're expecting tips. So you're wrong on that one, Saul, once again. I think you need to do a little bit more homework when it comes to tipping, Saul. I'm not sure if you have lived abroad, and I'm not sure if you understand how tipping really works. I made this video to show the breakdown, the misunderstanding between passengers, riders, and drivers and food delivery drivers, why tipping is not that frequent anymore. But you got to go back to one word or two words: service industry. This is a service industry. You pay the valet guy to drive your car over there and bring it back. You're paying us to take you to the airport and get you to your flight in time. You're paying us to get your drunk ass to your house at 2:30 in the morning. That's a service. Never forget that. And because you may be angry and upset at the company, at Uber, at Lyft, at DoorDash, at Uber Eats, because they are gouging you, retaliation fighting back should not be against the individual that is offering the service. And that is where the breakdown is happening. And because tips are drying up, drivers are saying, hey, you know what? Hell no, I don't care if my car smells like smoke. I don't care if my car's dirty. Riders and passengers are cheap. They're not tipping. Everything has gotten more expensive. And I understand where the rider and passenger, I have sympathy for the passenger and the rider, right? That their rates have gone through the roof. But I also want to tell you at the same time, you're punishing the wrong person. The person you have your upset and anger against is the company. Damn, they've charged me double the amount. I used to catch a car, an Uber from the airport back home, and now they're charging me double. Screw the driver. I'm not paying them a tip. That's the wrong attitude, right? Go and post a social media post against Darryl Khosrowshahi or the company, and be honest. The only reason why I'm not willing to pay a tip or a higher tip is because you guys are gouging me. So the true loser here, the true loser. So Tula's in the house. Much love to Tula. Did 22 rides yesterday, only 9 tipped. But I snooze. Well, that's a high percentage. If you're getting 9 out of 22, you're offering exceptional service. They're saying right now, statistically, 1 out of every 4 trips, 25% of the drivers are getting tipped. I think it's lower. I would almost say that 1 out of every 10 trips you're getting tipped. Brian says in Vegas, off the strip, no tips. On the strip, I typically get tipped. Interesting. So maybe people that are going out and having fun and they're on the strip and they've gone out dancing, they've gone to a restaurant, they went to a show, they're feeling good. I am going to reward my driver. Off the strip? No, hell no. Joel says, Uber, bring that damn multiplier back. 100%. So the multiplier, if you had the multiplier in every city in every state worldwide, people would not be complaining about tips, because you would actually be making money and you'd actually be stepping into the true role of an independent contractor, setting your own rates, meaning he or she sets their own rates with the multiplier. We had that in California for a year. And believe me, if every driver has the multiplier, you will never be complaining about tips. But it's because we rely on tips, because we need the tips to survive. Otherwise, our math doesn't add up. Otherwise, we cannot get gas in our tank, right? This is why this battle is playing out. Super Troll says airport drop-offs are hardly tipping. And that's sad. That's sad that airport, because you're loading up all the luggage at the hotel or at the house, you're taking them to the airport, you're getting out, you're unloading all of that, no tip. That's no bueno, dear rider, dear passenger. And I'm going to be very direct here to the driver and passenger. If somebody's taking you to the airport and handling your luggage and unpacking for you and making sure you get on time, make damn sure you tip your driver, because you have no problems doing curbside check-in. And I've watched this many times. A driver waiting to get his tip at the airport, doesn't get it. People immediately step away from the car with their baggage, and I wait and I watch, and they go to curbside check-in, and then they'll pay that guy. Oh, check me in faster, right? Here's $5, but you're not tipping your driver. It's wrong. It's wrong. Airport trips should be, okay, mandatory gratuity, no. I don't believe in that. I made that video to test reactions and to spark reactions and to spark a dialogue. And man, were the riders and passengers pissed off that I had even used those 2 words, mandatory gratuity. I don't believe, I'm going to say it right here, I don't believe in mandatory gratuity. What I do believe in, if you're getting exceptional service, in my industry with private clients, 9 out of 10, I would even say 95% of the time, I'm getting a good tip. Last night I had a $500 booking, took these people to the show. I got another $80. I got $580 in my Venmo for a few hours downtown. And then she said, oh, I'm going to book you till this and this time. And I said, don't worry. If it goes later, it's fine. Don't worry, right? And she says, well, I'll have to pay you more. No, you don't have to pay me more. You've already paid me a great amount. You don't have to pay me more. She said, I'm so sorry. My friends still want tacos and this and stop there. No problem at all. We will do that. You know, you go all out for your clients. And what is the result? $500 booking and an $80 tip. It's $580 for a few hours all day long. You don't make that in Rideshare. You only make that with private clients. Private clients who have the money, they value you, right? They don't want to go hit or miss or get a shitty smoky car or a shitty driver or somebody that tailgates or drives unsafe and doesn't care, right? They're not going to take a chance. They will pay premium for a private driver. But there is a massive, massive difference between getting tips from private clients versus tips from rideshare riders these days. And again, I'm going to repeat it like a parrot. Like a parrot. The problem started when Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash started gouging their riders, gouging their clients, screwing their clients over with exorbitant, with astronomical fees. All this extra bullshit tagged on to your food delivery order, all these extras tagged on to your rideshare order, and then riders turned around and said, fuck you, Uber and Lyft. Fuck the driver, I ain't tipping you. And after that, everything started going downhill. The tip well started drying up. You're like a camel walking around in the desert looking for water. Where's my tip? Where's the water? It's just not there. And these camels are like falling over, doink, 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 and dying. No water, no water, no water, no tips, no tips, no tips, no tips. The companies are responsible for this. Ladies and gentlemen, smack, like Dustin says, Smackovich, smack that like button. 58 people in the house, 29 likes. If you like tips, hit the like button. And riders, I'm not attacking you. I'm not attacking you. I made this video to show why we are here today. And riders and passengers and people ordering food. Again, I honestly say this very respectfully to you. I'm pretty harsh. I'm pretty brazen. It's only black and white in my world. I don't fuck around in the gray zone. I don't fuck around in the clouds, in the gray clouds. Classic Jose throws down $9.99. I got pictures of passenger receipts. It differs from my driver app. Uber's stealing. I have proof. 100%, right? 100% they are stealing. That, by the way, now thank you for bringing that up, Classic Jose, right? That is the other big problem. Drivers, and I want passengers and riders to listen very carefully here. Again, nobody's attacking you. We just want to clarify and show you what's going on, right? Showing you what's going on as a driver. You tip your driver $5. We had the classic story 2 weeks ago with Bill Ackman. Tipped the driver $5. Then they chatted, and the driver said, I didn't get the $5. Or I got $4.50. So whether you want to call it tip shaving or tip stealing, it's real. And who knows? Who knows? And thank you for bringing this up. Who knows how many hundreds of millions of dollars? And I'm not just sucking this figure out of fresh air. This is a pretty damn realistic number because Amazon was already sued for hundreds of millions. Uber was already sued for hundreds of millions of dollars for stealing tips. So when you are stealing tips on a daily basis or shaving tips from millions and millions of drivers over a period of time, it's an accumulation of a lot of money that we, the driver, are not getting. And you, the rider and passenger, you may have very well paid that. And your intention was to give that individual $5 or $10 or $2. And had that money come through the pipeline, through the app, if there was no shaving involved, if there was no stealing involved, and we actually received that money, drivers might today say, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for that money. But very often we don't see that money because it goes disappearing. So dear rider, dear passenger, know that. Sometimes maybe you're not getting the appreciation or the gratitude or the thank you from the driver because we are just not receiving the monies. So all of your anger, don't direct it towards the driver. Don't direct it towards the food delivery driver. Dear rider, dear passenger, your anger should be solely pointed, both guns loaded. You should be pointing directly at the companies and the people running the companies, at the executives, right? They are gouging you. They are stealing the tips or shaving the tips that we should be getting. And it's just all downhill from there. All downhill. It's all downhill when the entire system deteriorates. And it could very well deteriorate over one single item called tipping, or 2 tips, or tips in general, right? Maybe we are not receiving your monies. Maybe a big portion of your monies that you're actually paying us is disappearing, is shaved off. Maybe you're not tipping at all because you're just simply angry at the company for gouging you, for overcharging you, which I understand and I have sympathy for that. So let's find a way of working together, because the only way for us to survive in this game is to rely, and not mandatory gratuity, right? Take that back. That was just put out there to get some conversation going. But the only way we make this work for us, and this is why so many drivers are dropping out, if you are not making those weekly tips, if they're not adding up, you cannot do the math. You cannot work anymore, right? And then the only option on the other side is to do private clients. Private clients, I kid you not, I shit you not, 9 times out of 10, I'm getting a good tip. And I'm talking $15 upwards, right? Yesterday was $80, $80 tip on a $500 charge. 580 is what I got. So I know it's possible. Maybe the wealthier have more money. Tula in the house. I gotta come and see my Tula in San Francisco. $100 of olive oil, balsamic vinegar. My tip yesterday, leaving it in my car by accident. That's awesome. That's value, man. Balsamic vinegar. Yesterday I had the owners of Chapelet vineyards in Napa Valley in my car, the family. Ultra wealthy, 600-acre, producing some of the finest Cabernets in the world. Those were my clients last night that paid me well. And I also got a stunning bottle. I think a $350 or $400, I looked it up online, bottle of Cabernet as an additional gift on top, because when you take care of those people, they take care of you. Now, shared trips, don't even get me started on shared trips. Shared trips is literally for the cheapest asses out there. You will never, ever, ever get a tip on a shared trip. Why? Because they're already sharing the trip to save money. The people are sharing trips to save money, and they don't mind sitting next to some other stinky person in the car. You think they're going to tip you? Hell no. Hell no. But again, dear passenger, dear rider, dear person ordering food, the percentage between food delivery and rideshare delivery, which should, I think, be the same, but it's not. It's a tipping food delivery drivers versus rideshare drivers. Let's try and work together, right? Let's figure out a way, misdirect your anger. Your anger is solely at Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash and Uber Eats. Shouldn't be at us. Let's try and find a way. Let's communicate better. Let's compare notes. What did you pay? What did I receive? Let's check the tips. What did you pay in a tip? Did you pay a tip? Didn't you pay a tip? Was the tip stolen? Was the tip shaven? I just generally think the solution is more communication. Just digital simulations is in the house. Is it legal for Uber and Lyft to throttle your ride offers if you don't accept? Oh, they 100% they do that. That's the algorithm right there. Madnan's in the house. Linda says shared trips usually are people who are not most classy folks. Those are the stinky ones, Linda. Oh, he's smelly. He must be a shared rider. Oh, he's very, very smelly. Let's see. So we've got Tula. I got to see Tula in San Fran sometime. Who else we have? The Side Gig Guru. Welcome, the Side Gig Guru. Vanessa's in the house. Dara's someone who's stuck in the clouds. That's for sure. You're 100% right about that, Vanessa. So I just had my coffee. I am now picking up, listen to this. I am now picking up 5 teenagers and taking them to a couple of parties till about 10:30 p.m. tonight. It's a 5.5-hour booking and good pay. And that's on my Saturday, on my day off. And I'm working tomorrow. So keep the money rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Keep on being generous on your tips, dear rider. Don't punish the driver. You should be punishing the company. Never punish the driver. Please be generous when it comes to tipping. This is a service industry. Culturally, yes, tips differ a lot from, let's say, Europe to America. But in America, as far as I know it, I tip my hairdresser, I tip my waiter, I tip the valet guy, I tip the guy at the airport, and guess what? I tip my driver. I'm not a big person that orders in food, so I don't use Uber Eats and DoorDash, but when I travel or when I go around, yeah, I'll jump in an Uber or Lyft, and yeah, I'll compare prices, and depending on what type of service I get, I'll tip them up or I'll tip them down. Easy. So be safe out there on the weekend. I'll have another video coming up tomorrow. Let's keep it real. On the way out, please hit the like button. It looks like this. Right, you've got 52 people in the house. Please be safe out there. I am now on my way to I'll come up and visit you. Let's see, what else is this? Saul says, I went to a bar last night, $0 tip. I pay what I see on the menu. I went to a bar last night and you gave a $0 tip. I pay what I see on the menu. And he thinks that's funny. He's like, LOL. Saul, can I ask you something? Are you a little stingy by nature? Like, be honest with me, right? Because you keep on making your point here. I don't tip. I pay $0. I'm asking you directly. Are you stingy by nature? Or have you always been stingy? Or have your parents maybe taught you to be stingy, right? No one is entitled to my money. So there it is. There's our answer, ladies and gentlemen. I think Saul is a cheap ass, right? Saul expects work done for him, but he's not willing to pay. Karma slaps you in the face one day, Saul. It's called cheap. I'll call you straight up as you are. You're a cheap ass in my channel right now, right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good one, and everybody, please be safe out there. Happy weekend. Dear riders and passengers, we enjoy you on board. We'll go beyond for you. We'll make sure you get home. We'll make sure you get your flight in time. Let's work together. Let's work together. Take care and have a great day. I did, Saul. I called you cheap. That's who you are. You're gonna wear that badge tonight. I am cheap. Or you get your little cap from me. I'll make you a cap. I am cheap. Everyone, take care. God bless you all, and be generous. Don't be a Saul in your life. Don't be like Saul. Be generous and tip. Have a good one. Good night.